Hi everyone, today I'm going to be studying Korean with y'all and I'll be showing you the resources I use, what websites, my study technique, and if you guys enjoy, please let me know in the comments down below so I can continue posting these type of videos. I prefer using notebooks when I study Korean so that I could write down all the important information, and I like to have a very thick notebook so I can make sure it's going to fit all the information and that I will not be running out of paper anytime soon. My usual go-to stationery is Muji, and I like using their gel ink ballpoint pens, and I prefer them in 0.5. My favorite website to use to study Korean is howtostudykorean.com. I did study it like a year ago, but I stopped after a few lessons because I got lazy. But I'm gonna start again and hopefully I'm gonna stay on track this time. I honestly really like how the website is structured, the lessons it teaches you, how they're all organized, and honestly I would say that it helped me the most out of all the resources I used to study from. Usually other resources I'd use to study would just teach me random sentences without explaining how or why they're said that way. But in this case, this website has actually taught me the grammar within the sentences, the unit particles, which I didn't even know existed up until I came across this website. So honestly, I would recommend it to people who actually want to study Korean and get fluent, because it's going to teach you actually the grammar, how to get there, and not just memorize words and sentences. So the way this website works is that at the beginning of every lesson, it's going to give you 30 to 50 vocabulary words to study. And as you can see here, I'm writing them down so I could memorize them before I could start with the actual lesson. The website also offers PDF versions of each lesson, which you can print out. And I already printed out the first 8 lessons and put them in a binder. I like the PDF versions so I could underline or circle any points that I don't particularly want to put in my notebook, but I think are important. So the PDF version is very useful for that. Now that I'm done writing my vocabulary words, I could go ahead and start with the lesson itself. But first, I'll go on to Spotify and play my music so that I could focus and actually get into the mood while I study. I'd review the vocabulary one last time and then I'm 100% sure I'm ready to start the lesson. And I love using Quizlet for vocabulary because I could check myself to see if I forgot something, if I messed up on the pronunciation, and I could also play little games or test myself to see if I have any mistakes. And it's honestly very fun, and I love Quizlet for vocabulary, and not just for Korean, but in general when it comes to school and exams as well. I like to read through the lesson first and understand it before I write my notes, because it's a lot more effective that way. When I used to write my notes as I studied, it wasn't very effective and I always end up writing everything I see on the paper. But by studying and understanding first and then writing, I can actually simplify the words, I could summarize, and it's just a lot more convenient. And I don't like wasting time writing notes and spending over 15 minutes. So what I start to do now is that I just write an overall or main idea of every topic and simplify it as much as I could, because I already understand it in my head and I have a PDF version I could go back to whenever I need a deeper understanding. But for notes, I like to keep them very simple and straight to the point. So as you can see here, I just like writing what every topic is about really quickly and just keeping it simple. Doing this has saved me a lot of time. I used to spend hours just writing my notes, but then I realized I could use this time to actually study instead of writing notes. And as you can see here, I was able to summarize 13 pages worth of notes into just a page and a half. After I'm done with the lesson, I like to go and recall what are the topics we studied today, and I'd go onto YouTube to study them even more. For example, in today's lesson, we learned about and 는. So I went on YouTube so I could see a video explaining that a lot more in detail. Even though I already understand it, I watch a video so I could see it from another person's point of view, explained in a different way, and to help it stick in my brain a lot more. And although I know how to read and write in Hangul, I do need to practice reading sometimes. These are my favorite books to use when I want to practice reading. Basically, they show you a story in Hangul, and below it or right beside it you'd see the English translation. And once you're done, they would have comprehension questions for you, both in Korean and in English, for you to practice. Honestly, it's very helpful because when I read Hangul in my brain, I can do it fast. But when I have to read out loud, I'm kind of slow, and this really helps me a lot. Speaking of Hangul, I advise all of you who want to study Korean to start learning the alphabet first, because it is very important and it's going to really help you. Because if you try to learn the language without knowing how to read and write, it's going to be very difficult for you. So I advise you to learn the alphabet. It's very easy. It's going to take you less than a day. It took me an hour to learn how to read in Korean. So I really advise you guys to do this if you want to become fluent in Korean. I'm nowhere near fluent right now, but I do know for a fact if I didn't study Hangul first, I would be struggling a lot right now. And to be honest, I wouldn't say I'm a complete beginner in Korean because I have been quote-unquote studying, and I also took Korean classes. I wouldn't say I'm intermediate as well. I'd say I'm like in between. I can speak and understand very basic and common sentences. I can introduce myself, I can ask where a specific thing is, I could say that thing is mine, I could ask someone to meet up on a specific day, but I wouldn't say I'm comfortable enough to go have a full convo with a Korean speaker. And I did take a break from studying for a while, so I feel like starting all over again would be the right thing to do so I could refresh my mind, and hopefully this time I'll be more committed. Something I believe is crucial in learning Korean is to watch Korean content as well. For example, K-dramas, talk shows, listening to podcasts. If you're in ARMY, you could watch from BTS, because listening to modern, everyday Korean convos is going to get you a lot more familiar with the language, and you're going to get an idea of how Koreans actually speak and the slang they use and all of that kind of stuff. Because there is a difference in the textbook Korean or storybook Korean we read and the actual everyday Korean we hear. Same thing goes with any language you're going to study. The sentences you read in textbooks are very formal and very, I wouldn't say unnatural, but they're not as common. So hearing how natives actually speak in modern life is going to be very helpful for you. That's all for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you would like to see some more videos like this, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.